I have been running this YouTube channel for just about a year now, and I do a lot of Yin Yoga practices because that's a practice that I'm deeply passionate about. But I realized I haven't really explained a whole lot about Yin Yoga, and I felt it was high time to rectify that. So I'm planning a series of short videos, a FAQ, if you will, frequently asked questions. And if you have a question about Yin Yoga, I would be happy to answer it in one of these videos, and go ahead and drop it in the comments below. So the first thing we have to look at is yin versus yang. So yin is cool. It is female. It is passive. And it gets into our connective tissue, and that is our joints, our deep fascia, and our ligaments. And all of these, our connective tissue, are very plastic. So when they're stressed, they'll retain their new shape. Yang, on the other hand, is male. It's hot. It's rapid. So think hot yoga. That's like the epitome of yang. It gets into our muscles rather than our connective tissues. And our muscles are very elastic. And that means when they are stressed, they are going to return to their original shape. So if I do a bicep curl like this, and bring my hand in, bicep shortens, bring my hand out, bicep elongates again. So think about Pilates. Pilates is trying to stretch you into long, lean muscles, dancer's muscles. And that's not what we're doing with Yang style yoga, and it's not what we're doing with Yin style yoga either. So there are three principles in Yin Yoga. Although let me back up a minute there. We live a really yang lifestyle these days. We get up, we don't have time for ourselves, we're going all the time, moving from one thing to the next, not taking lunches, not taking breaks. We are a slave to our phones, our email, the 24/7 news. It's a very, very yang lifestyle, so we need some balance. I mean, you've seen the Chinese symbol, yin and yang, and it needs to be balanced. And Yin Yoga is a great way to balance all our very, very yang lifestyles. And there are three main principles in Yin Yoga. And the first one is longer holds. And the reason we're holding longer is it takes that longer hold to get into that connective tissue, to get into our joints, to get into our deep fascia. It takes time and stress, good stress, and over time, we're going to strengthen all of our connective tissue, and that's going to help us increase, hopefully, our range of motion. Some of that depends on our anatomy as well. So that's the first principle. We hold poses for long periods of time, usually starting out around 1 minute when you aren't used to that, working your way up to 5 minutes, maybe even longer. The second principle is finding your edge. And your edge may look different than mine. Your edge may be different than it was yesterday. It may be different than it will be a month from now. Hopefully, it actually will be. That's part of the reason to practice. So what do I mean by edge? And I wish I could give you a very crisp and clear definition, but I can't. However, when you get into your longer poses, you should be feeling something in the area that the teacher is telling you we're targeting. Now, it may be that you feel something in a different area, and that is perfectly fine. But you should be feeling sensation. What you should not be feeling is burning or tingling, or definitely not sharp shooting pains. That's not good in any form of exercise. We never want to see that. But you should be feeling something. Which brings us to our third and final principle, and that's stillness. And that can be taken a couple of ways. So we get into a pose and we hold it for a longer period of time, 1 to 5 minutes, sometimes longer. And then once we've taken that first minute to find our edge, then we're still. Now you may move a little bit. You may find that as you're in your pose and you're being still in your pose, you may find something's releasing and maybe you can go a little deeper. But you shouldn't be holding on for dear life. If you're gripping the ground, you're gripping your mat, if you're gripping so hard that you're cramping, you've definitely gone over your edge and you need to back out. So mostly we're being still. We're being physically still. We take that first minute, we get into the pose. We're also being mentally still. And I think this is where a lot of people really struggle with yin. And I know I did it first too. It takes time. It takes time to build up that mental toughness to just sit with your thoughts. So I like to actually call it, Yin Yoga is called yoga of the joints very often. I actually like to call it yoga for people who think they can't meditate, because it's a very meditative practice, because you're alone with your thoughts. And that's a good thing. It's a really good thing. We don't like to go within. We don't like to face our thoughts. But it's a good thing. And being still with your thoughts can help you in so many ways in your life. Think about as a runner, think about as you're running long. And once again, you're listening to music or you're listening to your thoughts, which is never a bad thing. I get some of my best ideas when I'm on the run. And I sometimes get really good ideas when I'm holding poses for a long time too. I suggest you keep a pad near you, or perhaps your phone for notes, but I don't want you scrolling through your phone because that would not be good. So that's our 3 principles: longer holds, finding your edge, coming to stillness, physically, mentally. And that is your first introduction to Yin Yoga. And I also want to leave you with this, what Bernie Clark said about holding poses. He said, Yin Yoga, it's not about going deeper into the pose. It's about holding it for longer times. That's how we go deeper. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that you stick around for the next video, which I will link up for you.